Just for an extra wash, I do a rocket smash.
What are you doing, Jackson?
Washing tomatoes. Washing tomatoes. That's what I'm washing. Now, thanks for asking.
Okay. Just in case you didn't guess, we're getting ready to can some more tomatoes. I've got my little helper home from school, and he is doing the first wash on the tomatoes. He likes to help in the kitchen, so I try to encourage it whenever I can, because take advantage of it when they're young, because most of the time when they get older, they're not nearly as interested in helping or learning. But right now, that's what he's wanting to do, so of course I'm going to let him help.
This one's making one, this one. And wash that hole really good.
We have all of our tomatoes washed, and I'm scoring them right now. I'm putting an X on the bottom. So whenever I blanch the tomatoes in a bit, it will be easy to peel the skins off, because we don't want skins in our stewed tomatoes. And if there's some little bad spots in there, I'm also cutting that off as well. Like that. That's ugly. So we always toss that. I don't want to risk anything bad being in my tomatoes, because it's too much work not to do it right and to let it go bad. But I'll just continue doing this while I'm waiting on the water to come up to a boil. Okay. Our water has come up to a boil, so what I'm going to do, get a tomato and put it in. My camera's wanting to steam up. I'm going to let that come back up to a boil and boil for about a minute or minute and a half until the skins start to slip off. Then I'm going to put them over here into this pot. Go ahead and get my ice in there, let that be chilling. That way it shocks the skin on the tomatoes, and it's super easy to peel off. Alrighty, I've got several tomatoes already blanched. We're just continuing the process of scoring, putting in the hot water, putting in the ice water. And these are going to be super easy to peel. You just pull down like that right there, and the peel's going to slip right off. Alrighty, I have blanched and shocked all of the tomatoes, and now I'm just peeling the skins off. They usually come off really easy, which that's really good, because nobody wants to be eating some stewed tomatoes with tomato skins in there, or any type of a canned tomato dish for that part. But I'm going to save the tomato skins and put them in my tomato juice. That one is a bit ugly, so I'm not using it. I'll link the video to this one. It's a way that I get a lot more bang for the buck, as the old expression goes, out of my juice. I'll grind the tomato skins and whatnot up and make the juice a lot thicker. Let's just continue to get these peeled up and ready to put in the jars. Alright, this is the last tomato out of this batch. Okay, it's peeled. I have all my skins saved here, which is quite a few. That will add a lot of body to my tomato juice. Now I have my tomatoes. Now the only thing that I need to do is to chop them up and then get my other ingredients ready. I'm down to my last tomato to dice up. I have a bunch of them sitting there in my strainer with the excess juice dripping out. That way I don't have to cook it quite as long if part of the juice has already dripped out of it, which I will save that and put it in my next batch of tomato juice. I try not to waste. Now I just need to cut up my celery, onions, and bell peppers. Okay, I'm working on my 2 stalks of celery that go in my stewed tomatoes. I'm going to cut these down the center and dice them up like that. We'll grab peppers and onions in a couple of minutes. Alrighty, I've got a 1/4 cup of bell pepper, green bell pepper at that, chopped up, and I put it in there with my celery. Now we're going to work on the onion. Hopefully I won't be crying and throwing on you. I'm very good at that whenever it comes to onions. Got to just love those little chemicals in there that make you cry. Got a 1/2 onion. I'm going to dice it down this way twice. Turn it this way. And then the little bitty leftover pieces, I'm just going to slice right here. Okay, I'm going to put this in here with my celery and bell peppers. And I've had my tomatoes in a strainer for several minutes with the excess juice dripping out. Put those in there, bring it up to a boil. See, this is everything that dripped out of this. That is a ton of tomato juice. It's probably at least a pint or pint and a half. And we'll just let this come up to a boil and we'll add some seasonings in a few minutes. Alrighty, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of the pink Himalayan sea salt. just going to stir this up. And it smells so good. And we're going to let it cook down to the proper consistency and texture that it needs to be. Then we'll put it in the jars and put it in the canner. My stewed tomatoes have been cooking for about 15 or 16 minutes. Everything in there is probably over half cooked. So I'm going to go ahead and ladle it out into my jars. I'm using pint jars, and they have a tablespoon of lemon juice in the bottom. I always put lemon juice in tomatoes whenever I can, because I never know the exact acidity of my tomatoes. So I would rather go ahead and put it in there rather than risk losing the tomatoes. I left those in big chunks because I like chunks in my stewed tomatoes. What about you folks? You like everything mushed up like a salsa? Or do you like chunks? What I do is I always move my funnel over to my next jar. I wipe my lid off. And I have my rings sitting in a pot of warm water. You just put it on there finger tight. Wipe the bottom off so you don't get any excess salsa in there. And put it over into your preheated canner. I'm going to keep doing that until I have the canner filled. Then we're going to water bath can it. Here is the stewed tomatoes that we just made. They just come out of the canner, and none of them have sealed as of yet. You can see where the little thing in the middle is still popped up. When they're sealed, they will be pulled down like this one on my salsa. You can see the little indentation right there where the chew is. That's what these will look like. But that's 6 jars of homemade stewed tomatoes. It's been a long day. I'm ready to call it quits. You guys have a good one. See you in the next video.